Good evening, everyone. This is Cricket Lot for Monday, August 12th, and our speaker this evening is Joyce Oliveto. And Joyce, take it away.
All right. Thank you for being patient, everyone. I think you're going to love this. And I just wanted to repeat myself. Just go to agelessenergy.com and you can read my story. It's a wonderful website. There's a lot of education on there. Um, I'm very passionate about teaching. It changed my life profoundly. It's affected my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and what we do does affect our loved ones. So what we're going to do today is really go into depth about enzymes and how they work in the body and the importance of enzymes, not only the enzymes in our food, digestion, and also supplemental enzymes. And most of you are probably um, proficient, I'm thinking, if you're part of Cricket's group. And there's a lot of philosophy here about, we all have our own philosophy about different subjects, but wellness is a conscious choice. And it's something that, we're continually working on and improving. And I have found in my practice that people continue to, no matter what they age, and most of my clients now are older and have been for many decades um, with me, but they just want to be healthier all the time. And I truly believe that achieving vibrant health is even more important the older we get. So we all have different whys, and you can see this up on the screen. You might relate to all of these or some of these, but there's many different whys why we're on this journey of walking the path of creating vibrant health in our life. So this isn't gonna be boring at all. Some of this will be redundant for some of you because you have been around for a long time, and some of you might be newer to this, but I know you're on the journey. And these are just a few things we have to pay attention to. It's a step-by-step process, but the most important part of that, as you will learn during this presentation, is complete and proper digestion. I believe it's the key to health. And one of the things about raw and living foods is it's easy to digest, and it does not take energy away from the body to digest the food and all the many, many, many steps it takes in the body to digest food. And that takes energy away from building our immune system. There's many reasons for disease. The main three are stress, lack of proper nutrition, and a toxic body. And digestion affects all of these. And you will learn that as we move through. We all have choices. You all know that. If you're here today, then you've made a choice to live a healthy lifestyle. So we're either moving towards degeneration and dis-ease, or we're moving towards regeneration. And yes, rejuvenation is absolutely possible. Anti-aging and reversing the aging process and extending the telomeres is absolutely possible. So everybody's somewhere on this journey, and somewhere along that path you are. Some of these things I think but I want to make sure that I do this in a synchronistic way so that it's one's leading to the other. So, of course, they're building blocks for our cells. Malnourished cells must be replaced by healthy cells over time. And it takes 120 to 150 days for the cells in our entire bloodstream to be replaced. But understanding that every different part of the body takes different amount of time to replace the whole entire body. It takes up to 12 months for 80% of the cells in our body to be replaced. But as the cells are changing, the tissues in our body are changing and creating new organs and new bones, and we're constantly changing. And we have the key within ourselves and the knowledge now to be able to make these changes and live a healthy lifestyle. And the older we get, as we gain this wisdom, we don't have to fall apart. Not as old as young as people thought we did. So as we make healthy cells, that creates healthy tissues, which creates healthy organs, which creates healthy systems and a healthy body, which I believe, and I've seen in my experience in all the generations below me, above me, below me, because I now have six, a seventh one on the way, great-grandchildren, 7 grandchildren, and 3 adult children. Actually, my oldest granddaughter just turned 40. That's crazy. We're going to talk about some things that you've heard before, but we're going to go a little deeper in it. So, yes, liver is important, but it is an accessory to the digestive system. It's not the main path of food, but it is an accessory to the digestive system. And it's a filtering system. And we'll go deeper into this. It filters poisons, toxins, and chemicals. It has to be able to do this. And enzymes play a major role in not in the digestion of what goes, not in how food goes through the liver, but digestion plays a major role because food particles break down and are easier to be accessed. And I'm going to take this step by step because we're going to get pretty deep in here. So the liver is the largest internal organ in the body and second overall to the skin. In an adult, the liver weighs 104 to 106 kilograms. 1.4 to 1.6. Our liver is responsible for more than 500 functions, which include processing various nutrients, building proteins, and producing bio and detoxifying food. Processing the nutrients takes enzyme activity. We're all exposed to different types of chemicals in our lives, and most of us, when we're on this journey, we take charge of the ones we can. And that's the best thing to do. And that means a lot of that. And I don't want to change this presentation, but these are the choices we make to put on our body and in our body. We're going to talk a little bit about, let me see something here. Okay. All right. Phytochemicals are cruciferous, come from cruciferous plants. And cruciferous plants have high amounts of sulforaphane. Broccoli, and over the years, you've heard about broccoli. Well, broccoli sprouts even has more phytochemicals than broccoli. Well, phytochemicals are destroyed in the cooking process. But the most powerful thing I believe about phytochemicals is they enter the bloodstream. They actually can go through the cell wall and into the nucleus of the cell. And when they do that, they activate an enzyme. It's a phase 2 enzyme. Enzymes are proteins, and we'll be talking about that more. But once that enzyme is activated, what happens is it attaches to all the poisons and toxins, and it takes them out of the cell in to be released from the body through the eliminative systems. And that's another class. Phytochemicals. Most vegetables are water soluble. Phytochemicals are destroyed when cooked. And phytochemicals only come from vine ripened fruits and vegetables. If they're not vine ripened, the phytochemicals are not in there. They're just not as strong. There's not as many. I remember when I was the director of Hippocrates Midwest, and then became Creative Health Institute, and we were surrounded by farmers, and they would come by and grab the tomatoes, and then they would come by, and all the ones that were left were taken to the factory to make tomato sauce because they were so ripe. And yes, they were good, but the phytochemicals were destroyed in the cooking process. And it's important. I'm really excited as I get to talk about this, our metabolic system. And what our metabolic system is, it supports homeostasis and normal function of the body. This is where it gets fun. So a chemical process is always going on in our body, which is allowing life and normal functioning. This helps convert food, drink, and food and drink into energy. But when it's compromised, you store more fat. Stay with me on this. Fat stores toxins. And I'll be going into that a little deeper. You do not want to take from your enzymatic bank. You don't want to. So what's important to understand is, and I'm going to talk about this, that next slide is supposed to be at the end. Our body, most people eat almost all cooked foods. All right. Nope, this isn't supposed to. Oh, I didn't close those off. Bear with me, please. I got to go through this. Get rid of these. I thought I had them moved. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. Can you see it? Okay. I didn't lose this. I know it by heart anyway. All right, we're good. So let's talk about, first I'm going to talk about enzymes, then I'm going to talk about metabolic enzymes. Enzymes are proteins in our body, and they assist and control every biological action and reaction. The pancreas is responsible, okay, for releasing enzymes into our stomach. And that is the main organ that helps with digestive enzymes. The pancreas has become way overworked because most people eat more cooked food than raw, and most people eat all cooked food. So digestive enzyme supplements help ease the work and all of the energy that the pancreas has to do to release secrete enzymes into the stomach when food enters it. We must protect the pancreas. And I remember when I started my practice back in 1980, 1981, I, at that time, didn't even have cancer patients. And then cancer started to spread and um, become more widespread because of many things. And I believe chemicals, poisons, toxins, parasites, all of it. But when about 10 years into my practice was the first time I had a patient come to me with pancreatic cancer. There was, and then of course that's much more common now. Digestive enzyme supplements help break down food into particles so the pancreas doesn't have to work as hard. But I want to go, okay, so let me see if it's up here. Okay, I'm going to go back a minute. I want to talk about the metabolic enzyme bank, okay? This is really, really important. Our body has the ability. Now, we just talked a little bit about what are the importance of our metabolic system, but the human body has the ability to convert metabolic enzymes into digestive enzymes if necessary. And that happens if your pancreas just is overworked, and so the body can then borrow from the metabolic enzyme bank, and you don't want to do that ever. You never want to borrow from the metabolic enzyme bank. We don't want to compromise the metabolic system. So the first stage of digestion is in the back of your mouth when the saliva has enzymes in it. That's why we chew very, very well. And as everything moves through the alimentary tract, there's different processes that happen along the way. But eating raw foods and making sure you eat, okay, you eat, take digestive enzymes with your food is I believe as important as any type of nutrition you're putting in your body. That's been my experience. So we take much less energy from the body when we do that. So our body needs vitamins and minerals. We all know that, and that powers to power the chemical and enzyme reactions. Up to 70% of vitamins and minerals are destroyed in the cooking process. Most of you know that already. Most people eat all cooked food. We need to support that pancreas. So we talked a little bit about phytochemicals already. Now let's talk a little bit about our body stores toxins in fat molecules. Okay. Stay with me so you'll see where this relates to digestive system. The more toxins we have in our body, the more what happens is the body wraps fat around toxins. So the more toxins you have, the more fat molecules. And fat molecules are changing all the time. The body breaks down fat. When the body breaks down the fat, it releases poisons and toxins. So what happens is the body also protects itself from poisons and toxins by hanging on to and producing more mucus. The more toxins we have, the more mucus we have. So the body produces and holds onto the mucus. We can reverse all of that, okay? So we're going to talk about fat-soluble toxins definitely can be turned into water-soluble molecules because this is all in the digestive process. Water-soluble molecules are easier to detox. Water-soluble molecules can be excreted by the body. Without a systemic detoxification, our body will not effectively remove toxins, but fat-soluble toxins are harder to break down. So digestive enzymes help with that too. So proper digestion helps break down the food, helping our body to relieve toxins easier. There's a little mistake in this one. I put this together many years ago and I didn't know how to change it because it was a photograph. But Dr. Dr. Edward Howell was quite a man. He wrote, I believe, to this day, still the best book on enzymes and what happens in the body. And it's called Enzyme Nutrition by Dr. Edward Howell. And it's, I think it's at least 50, 60 years old. It's a great book. So, of course, enzymes, they don't just begin to die. They're by 118, when food's cooked, there's no more enzymes anymore. They're dead. All right. And it's not 188 degrees, it's 118. So 100% of all enzymes naturally occurring in food are gone. So, and there's many things that affect that. Environmental factors, pesticides, herbicides, radiation, fluoride, they destroy food enzymes. So the food processing techniques like microwaving destroys enzymes. So majority of food, as I said before, are deficient. Majority of people are deficient in enzymes. And this is one of the studies that was done many, many years ago that showed, and this was in Dr. Edward Howell's book as well, the amount of enzymes present in an average 25-year-old person's saliva is 30 times more abundant than a 65-year-old person. That does not have to be. It's not necessary. That only happens because you eat, the more cooked foods you have, the more you don't have as much enzyme activity or enzymes present in the saliva. So it doesn't make any difference what your biological age is, because when you're dead, you have no enzyme activity, none. It's gone. It doesn't make a difference. We all know, I think almost everybody that's listening, that your biological age and your chronological age can be totally different, completely. And that's how we take care of ourselves. And we can, as I said, we know now regeneration, rejuvenation, not just anti-aging, but reversing the aging process does happen. So, see, okay, so let's see what I got here. Okay, remember, this is moving into something fun. As this is a healthy looking colon. And you can see the small intestine, and I've got another overhead that I'll be showing you shortly that you'll be able to relate to better after you see this one. The large intestine, as you swallow food and it goes, there's the time, the amount, the length of the alimentary tract with the stomach, the alimentary tract, the small intestine, and large intestine is up to 50 feet long. The large intestine is 5 to 7 feet long. The small intestine is 20 to 30 feet long. I have clients that I can tell when I'm working with them whether they have a short or long large intestine. And so What happens is food is builds up on the colon wall depending on what you eat and how it's digested, which can cause a lot of problems. I'll be going over that some other ones, but more than anything, toxicity and leaky gut. And leaky gut is addressed from the inside of the blood, from the inside of the colon and in the blood. So when you have buildup on the colon wall, what happens is microscopic perforations happen in the outer mucosa, which allows food particles to go in the blood, and they should never be in the blood. So the only way to address this is, of course, we're not going to go into a colon class, but we're going to talk about digestive enzymes and the digestive process. The environment, most especially in the large intestine, is controlled. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, I would use that word. Controlled by how toxic it is. The more toxic the large intestine and impacted it is, happens from digestion, from eating foods that are hard to digest, from eating foods when you're not taking digestive enzymes. I know when I was a kid, we made glue out of white flour. And I also know that the carpenter's glue is made out of casein from cow's milk. If you're going to do dairy, do sheep's milk. Just do it. It's much easier to digest. It's very difficult for the human body to digest casein from cow's milk. So this process of eating white flour and eating dairy and eating meat causes um, a it causes a battle inside the large intestine, and the environment is not conducive to good bacteria to grow. We need good and bad bacteria. But good bacteria has a hard time finding a place to live because the bad bacteria takes over, and the environment is not a healthy environment for the good bacteria to grow, and we need both. So when we're talking about leaky gut, we address that with a proteolytic enzyme, and that helps digest the food in the blood on an empty stomach. Digestive enzymes and probiotics help change the environment inside the colon. And of course, eating healthy foods and more raw than cooked. And if you can get yourself up to 70%, that would be wonderful, but an absolute minimum of 50%. So what happens here is you're looking at you're looking at the circulatory system that attaches to the small intestine and attaches to the large intestine. Well, as the blood goes through the circulatory system, it's taking with it poisons and toxins from the colon, from the small intestine, carrying them up through the portal vein into the liver. The liver, of course, is a filtering system, and it overworks a lot. And the more if you're using digestive enzymes and you're eating foods that aren't difficult to digest, the whole process is easier. This is not a pretty picture, but these are different diseases of the digestive system. I don't want to say it's good, but there's so many things that can be reversed in the human body. The cells and tissues we talked about in the bloodstream, they change between 90 and 120, 150 days. My daughter does live blood cell analysis, and there's such a big difference after, doing it and then 3 months later doing it again. But what happens in the digestive system, our cells change every 60 to 90 seconds. So we can reverse things easily that way. So that's not a pretty picture, so I'm going to keep it up there. Digestive care is important. If you take a look at this right here, you'll see the good bacteria. On the left is it's more, there's the mucosal lining, like I showed you. There's the bloodstream. There's nutrients that are trying to get into the bloodstream, but there's also digestive fiber, enzymes, and food particles. But we can reverse all of it. We don't have to be uncomfortable, feel full, be bloated, any of it. And this here shows you, and I should have had that up further, but if you take a look at this, the minute you put food into your mouth, the body, your salivary gland starts to work. If you look at a food that you just love and your mouth starts to water, that's your brain already starting the enzyme activity because you thought about it. So, and when we talk about acid reflux is caused by food not being digested and moving through the stomach and through the small intestine, through the large intestine. If food is not moving through at the proper length of time and keep moving, then when you eat food, it doesn't smoothly go down the esophagus and into the stomach. It stops. And when that slows it down, they call it, what happens is the peristalsis in the alimentary tract, in the esophagus. The peristalsis is the muscle tone. There's 3 layers of muscle tone in the mucosa that make up the entire alimentary tract from the mouth to the rectum. And that muscle tone starts to get weak as it keeps trying to push food down. And so as it doesn't work anymore, you get acid reflux. So that can be reversed as well. Instead of these horrible surgeries they do to esophaguses are very scary. So, and also, if you take a look at the hepatic flexure, I'm sorry, the duodenum, if you look at the bottom of the stomach there, just below the liver, when food goes into the stomach, if it's food, then that closes up and the pancreas and then digestive juices are admitted into the stomach, released into the stomach to digest the food. When you drink just water, and we'll be covering that next, but I want to talk to you while you're looking at that on it, is it dilutes your digestive juices drinking water when you eat. But if you eat healthy and a lot of raw food, you're not going to want to eat water with your meal. If you're eating bread and potatoes and meat, you're going to want to eat and all kinds of spices and salts. And I'm not saying don't use salt. Salt's very important. But you have to wash it down with something, and that dilutes the digestive juices. So, and bringing this back to water, when you drink water, don't drink it during your meals because it dilutes your digestive juices, depending on what you ate an hour before or an hour after. When you're taking digestive enzymes, you can take them 20 minutes before with your meal or after your meal, but just drink a little bit of water with them. It will help the digestive process, which will move food through the stomach faster, through the small intestine, through the large intestine, cause less buildup on the colon wall. So our organs are designed to remove poisons and toxins. So this one I just put on there because I like it so much. So when you breathe out, water leaves your body carrying out toxins. Water helps flush out solid waste. I'm going to show you how that works in the body. We need water to help clean our kidneys, and our kidneys are a filtering system. So we need that. Water helps remove poisons and toxins through the skin. So I know you know a lot about water. I do want to say one thing before we go on to the next slide, is that in my experience, what I've seen, and I don't want to get into a water class because that's another whole class, but I do not believe in spring water because in my experience, what I've seen and spoke with other people over the years is that even though the calcification and the minerals in spring water are very microscopic, they still over years can tend to build up calcium in the joints and tend to lead to arthritis. So that's what I've seen. So this was what I showed you earlier, the cross section of the stomach. the duodenum and the sphincter muscle is open. When water is into the stomach, just water, the sphincter muscle closes, enzymes are released into the stomach, and then the gastric juices and help to digest the food. So the reason I have this up here is because I was talking earlier about impactation, and this is the portal, the veins that line the colon wall. And when you drink just water, it helps to keep moisture on the colon wall. Okay, that's what it does. It helps to keep moisture on the colon wall. So I think it's really important. If you understand, and I'd be happy to take some questions. The importance of digestive enzymes. I just think people need to understand that it affects every single part of our body. I mean, that's what raw and living foods are about. That's the whole key. And Dr. Ann knew that better than anybody. And so did Victoria Skovinskas. I'm very fortunate that they were both my mentors. Me and Victoria are very close friends. And he's 85 and doing fabulous. He lives in Costa Rica. He's writing a new book. So anyway, I wanted to, and this is, I don't know, it's just something I like. And there are two obstacles to vibrant health and longevity, and that's ignorance and complicity. But if anything will keep you on track is knowing that you are helping and teaching and being an example for your loved ones, your children, your grandchildren, and people to come. I mean, more family to come. So I'd be happy to answer questions. Again, my website is ageless-energy.com. I have developed with Victorious Kavinskas actually developed my products for me. I have a product line. That one is a colon support product that is just amazing. The other is a digestive enzyme that's like nothing on the market. It's fabulous. You never need more than one, and it's not made with any animal products. There's many pancreatic enzymes on the market and digestive enzymes that have animal product in them. They don't even stay active during the digestive process. Okay. So these are all plant-based. They're wonderful. And I also have a detox product. So if you'd like to order digestive enzymes or go to my website, check it out, enjoy it. I really appreciate that. So Cricket, I don't know how much time I took. I'm wondering if anybody has any questions, and this is pretty much it. And I hope you loved it.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Anybody have any questions for Joyce?
Name of that book that's old and the author, I do.
What's the old book about enzymes and the author of it?
Dr. Edward Howell.
Okay.
And there's a lot of education on my website, more and more all the time. You'll love it.
Do you remember the name of the Dr. Howell's book?
Yes, enzyme nutrition.
Enzyme Nutrition. Okay.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have a question? Yeah, Janaba.
A question about cayenne pepper. Can they put cayenne pepper and make vegetable juice that they make?
Can she put cayenne pepper in her vegetable juice?
Yes, and tell her I said hi and I love her. Absolutely.
I wanted to tell you, Mr. Oliveto, I've been juicing every day.
She's been
I know.
juicing every day.
All right. You go, girl.
Juicing better than water?
It's a totally
you need
different thing.
both.
I think
Yeah.
did somebody say is juice better than water? They do
Yeah.
two different functions, totally two different functions completely. Juice is nutrition. It's easy to digest. You get your nutrients immediately. Water, it has a whole different value in the body. That you need the moisture in the body to keep the body working. Our body is like 90% water. When you really think about this, when you detoxify to such a pure level, you vibrate at a higher frequency. And when you get to that frequency, you don't want to change.
Find that you don't eat as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for joining us, Joyce.
Can I- one more?
Thank you
Sure.
Um,
Just a minute, Janaba has one more question.
Okay.
what is what is the best thing to use? What vegetable is the best to use for the nutrients?
What vegetable is best to juice for the nutrients?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question to answer because
Probably a
different
variety, so you get
of,
lots of different nutrients. Yeah.
of a variety. Absolutely. Absolutely. Celery is very important. Celery, I think celery is one of the most important, actually.
What to love you?
Pardon me?
Okay.
I thank
I-
you so much. I
And
was
thanks,
honored.
Joyce. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being patient with me.
Good night.
Night, everybody.